fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger. This is the legend of a man who buried his identity to dedicate his life to the service of humanity and country. It is the story of the origin of the Lone Ranger. Early settlers in the West had to be brave men and women, ready to fight for their lives at any moment. There was danger on every side. There were wild beasts, savage Indians, and the Cavendish gang. Butch Cavendish headed a pack of outlaws. They struck without warning to steal and kill.
Open fire on that wagon train. Wipe them out to the last man.
The Cavendish gang attacked ranches and towns as well as wagon trains. Everyone feared Butch Cavendish. His gang grew rich and powerful. Finally, the Texas Rangers learned where Butch Cavendish and his gang were hiding. 6 Texas Rangers guided their horses along a canyon floor to arrest the Cavendish gang. Presently, Captain Reid signaled a halt.
Right in, boys. We'll wait here until a scout returns.
You think it was a good idea to send Collins, our guide, on ahead?
It was Captain Reid's younger brother who asked the question. The captain explained that Collins, who was not a Texas Ranger, was the only man who knew the country and who could scout ahead for information. Then, while the Texas Rangers waited for the guide's return, the captain said to his younger brother,
My wife and son are coming from the east. If something happens to me and you survive, well, I know you'll take care of her and Danny.
Right.
I'm going to count on you to resign from the Rangers and work that silver mine we staked out. See that my son and his mother get my share.
I promise.
Here comes Collins, the scout.
Steady.
What's the word, Collins?
Good news, Captain Reid. It's all clear. I scouted the rim on both sides of the canyon and found no sign of the Cavendish outfit.
All right, boys, let's go. Get up there.
Get up.
Come on.
Collins, the guide, lagged behind unnoticed by the Texas Rangers, who moved in single file along the floor of the rock-strewn canyon. They didn't know that Collins had lied, that Butch Cavendish and his killers were waiting in ambush on the rim on both sides of the gap.
Here come those Rangers, boys, just as Collins told us.
Yeah, there they are.
Now, we can't get down to the floor of the canyon without going a long way back, and it'll be dark in half an hour. So we'll just keep pouring lead into them from up here until we're sure they're dead. Then we won't be taking any chances. Now open fire!
The Rangers leaped from their saddles and spread out as they returned the fire from both sides of the canyon. Soon, 4 of the Rangers were killed. Captain Dan Reid and his brother, wounded several times, kept fighting side by side. Then the captain fell mortally wounded, and a moment later, his younger brother, the last of the Rangers, slumped to the ground. The outlaws waited and watched for any sign of life from the Rangers, then rode away, convinced that all 6 men in Bryant's Gap were dead. Sunset came, then darkness. That night, an Indian examined the bodies by moonlight. After examining the first 5 men, he muttered softly,
Them dead.
Then he came to the 6th man, the younger brother of the captain.
And this man, alive.
The Indian lifted this man tenderly in his strong arms and carried him to a nearby cave where he bathed and dressed the wounds. Then he took a spade from one side of the cave and returned to the canyon, where he worked steadily until the dead men had been buried. Returning to the cavern, he sat watching through the remaining hours of the night. Daybreak found the Ranger stronger, but by nightfall, the wounds had become infected. The Indian called on all his knowledge to treat the wounded man. He went day and night without rest. It was the morning of the 4th day when the Ranger opened his eyes. And for the first time, the Indian saw them clear and calm.
Are you awake? Me glad.
Yes, but so weak.
You wounded bad.
I remember an ambush.
That right? Me find you in canyon. Carry you here to cave.
It's daylight.
It morning.
Then I must have been unconscious all night.
It's several days since fight in canyon.
Several days.
Ah.
There's something familiar about you.
You remember? Many year ago, you only boy. You find Indian boy in trouble. You save life, Indian boy.
Yes. Your name is Tonto.
That right?
Years ago, you called me Kimosabe.
That right. And you still Kimasabi. It mean faithful friend.
Tonto, there were 6 of us in that canyon. The others. What about the other rangers?
Other ranger, all dead.
Dead.
Ah.
One was my brother.
You only ranger left. You, Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger. Tonto, those killers know me by sight. If they know one man escaped, they'll look for him.
And them not know one escape. Tonto bury 5 men, make 6 grave. Crook think you die with others.
Good. Then my name shall be forever buried with my brother and my friends. From now on, my face must be concealed. A disguise, perhaps, or a mask. That's it, a mask. I'm the only one who knows about the Cavendish gang. With your help, Tonto, I'll get every one of those crooks.
In the ranger's eyes, there was a light that must have burned in the eyes of knights in armor. A light that through the ages lifted the souls of strong men who fought for justice, for God.
I'll be the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto were trailing the worst outlaw in the West. His name was Butch Cavendish. They had followed his trail for many weeks, until finally they noticed that the hoof prints of the outlaw's horse were fresh.
We're close to Cavendish now.
Yes, Tonto, he can't be far ahead.
Him outrun us last time. Maybe better we shoot in sight.
No, I want to take him alive. That shot.
Look out.
Steady there, steady, boy.
Over there. Killer in ambush. Him right way.
Tonto, he missed me, but he shot my horse. Get after him.
Get him up, fella.
Tonto's horse was tired and no match in speed for the animal Cavendish rode. The outlaw escaped. When Tonto returned from the futile chase,
Oh, fella. Oh, there.
he found the Lone Ranger standing beside his dead horse.
A good horse, Tonto. Loyal, faithful, and brave. But my next horse must be faster. I wish that... Tonto, we've heard stories of a wild horse, a fiery white stallion.
Ah. Him seen near valley over there, where Cavendish go.
We'll be on the lookout for the wild horse while we follow Cavendish.
Tonto's horse carried the Lone Ranger's saddle, his saddlebags, and bridle, while the masked man and the Indian continued on foot along the outlaw's trail. When they reached the top of a hill,
Look, Tonto.
they halted suddenly and stared at an awe-inspiring sight far down in the valley. They saw a great white stallion in a death fight with a giant buffalo. The horse was plunging, rearing, charging, and dodging wildly, and the sun flashed from his coat as from a coat of polished silver. They realized that this was the legendary white stallion, the one ranchers and hunters had talked so much about.
Tonto, we must have that horse. I'll try to shoot the buffalo.
It's too far for pistol shot.
I'll get closer before it's too late.
As he ran downhill, the Lone Ranger watched the battle. The sleek white stallion was nimble and courageous, but his strength began to wane. The buffalo charged again and again. The splendid muscles of the white horse were slower in responding, then too slow. He was caught by the buffalo's charge. Wet crimson stained his pure white coat. Another charge. The white horse saw it coming, and he couldn't dodge. He staggered and fell. The monster drew back and lowered his head for the death charge. And then, 2 shots rang out. The buffalo shuddered from the impact of the masked man's bullets. For an instant, he stood motionless, then fell. Cruelly battered and bruised, the white stallion lay quietly as the Lone Ranger bathed his wounds. During the next several days, the masked man and the Indian cared for the injured horse. Then the wounds were closed, and the horse's strength had returned. There was once more fire in his eye, a spring in his step, and his head was lifted proudly.
Tonto, he's himself again.
Him plenty strong, plenty good horse.
I wonder if he'll take a saddle. Let's try. Steady there. Steady, boy.
Me get rope. Him run away.
No, Tonto, wait. Let him go. I'd like to have that horse more than anything in the world. But he deserves his freedom. He fought for it.
Him stop.
He's turned to look at us. See how the sun reflects from his white coat.
Him look like Silver.
Silver. That would be a name for him. Silver! Look at him. Silver! Hey, Silver! Tonto, he's coming back. It's just as if he knew what I said. Silver! Silver, you beauty. Hand me the halter, Tonto.
As the mighty stallion felt the halter, he trembled as if from a chill. Every instinct told him that he must flee at once to preserve his freedom. And yet he stood his ground. It wasn't gratitude that kept him there. It was something stronger, some mysterious bond of friendship and understanding. He heard the man's voice, and he liked it.
Silver. Silver. We're going to be partners.
Him let you use halter.
Now, Tonto, the saddle.
Oh, no horse like that. Take saddle.
There never was a horse like this. Now, Silver, we're going to work together.
The horse was wild and unused to the ways of men and the weight of a saddle and a rider. But the masked man was a kind teacher. He was gentle yet firm, and Silver was intelligent. The stallion seemed to sense the desires of the Lone Ranger and did his best to cooperate. He learned quickly, and after several days of training, he was ready.
Follow me, Tonto. I'm going after Cavendish. Come on, Silver!
No hoofs had ever beat the plains like those thundering hoofs of the great horse Silver. During the past few days, Cavendish had gotten far away, but the masked man and Tonto trailed him relentlessly with only a minimum of rest. It took days to cut down the outlaw's lead, but at long last, Cavendish came into view.
There he is. Come on, Silver!
The mighty stallion responded with a new burst of speed. Cavendish fired wild shots over his shoulder until his gun was empty. His horse, though powerful and fast, was no match for the charging Silver.
Get up there, come on!
Fear and panic filled the outlaw's face. He heard the hoofbeats ever nearer, and then the masked man shout.
I want you, Cavendish!
The masked man's avowed mission was accomplished. The last of the Cavendish gang was captured to be tried by law and punished for his crimes. But there were many others whose criminal plans were to be challenged by the Lone Ranger, his faithful Indian companion Tonto, and his great horse Silver.
Hail, Silver!
This is the legend of Dan Reid, the story of how the Lone Ranger found his only living relative. A long line of prairie schooners moved westward through a valley. Among the pioneers were families with all their worldly goods and men on horseback who planned to seek their fortune in the new frontier. Also, there were several women who had joined the wagon train to meet their husbands who had previously gone west to make new homes. Suddenly, a blood-chilling cry rang out from the hills.
Indians!
Brilliantly painted Indians charged from the hills on both sides of the valley.
Form a circle with the wagons!
Get to the floor of the wagon, honey, and hold the baby close.
Heavily outnumbered by the Indians, the pioneers knew they had no hope. but they were determined to fight to the last man. It was the following morning when the Lone Ranger and Tonto came upon the scene of the massacre. They drew rein and examined the grim remains of wagons that had been looted, then burned, and the bodies of brave pioneers who had died in their attempt to conquer the West.
No survivors, Tonto.
It looked like work of Apache.
This must have been the wagon train that was heading for Fort Laramie.
While Tonto watched, the masked man made a detailed inspection of the ashes of wagons and their contents. Presently, he found a small, square piece of metal, a nameplate from a trunk. He wiped it on his sleeve, then read it.
Tonto, remember how the Cavendish gang ambushed my brother and the other Texas Rangers in Bryant's Gap?
Me know. You ambushed, too.
I think my brother had an idea that something might happen to him. Just before we rode into the Gap, he called me aside and said,
I want to speak to you brother to brother. My wife and son are coming from the east. If something happens to me and you survive, well, I know you'll take care of her and Danny.
I promised him I would. Then he said,
I'm going to count on you to resign from the Rangers and work that silver mine we staked out. See that my son and his mother get my share.
I made arrangements for an old man named Jim to work the silver mine and got enough ore to keep me supplied with silver bullets and what cash I need.
Me know.
We were to wait until my brother's wife arrived from the east to decide what she wanted done with her share of the silver mine. But now
Me sorry, Kimasabi.
Yes, Tonto. Linda and the baby boy were on this wagon train.
Maybe woman, baby captured. Maybe them alive.
It's a faint hope, Tonto. Nevertheless, I shan't be convinced that they're dead. We'll always be on the lookout for some clue that Dan Reid and his mother are alive. In the meantime, we must help make the West a place where massacres like this can't happen.
After reporting the massacre of the wagon train to Fort Laramie, the Lone Ranger visited his secret silver mine for a fresh supply of silver bullets. Then, with Tonto at his side, the masked man turned the blinding light of justice on criminals throughout the West. He was a mysterious figure identified only by his mask, the great white horse named Silver, and a ringing cry.
Hi-yo, Silver!
He was the Lone Ranger. Though 13 years went by, the Lone Ranger was ever alert for proof that his brother's wife and son were dead, or, if living, a clue that might lead him to their side. Then his adventures took him to the high border country in the Northwest, where he fought men who sought to rob an old lady called Grandma Frisbee and her adopted grandson, a boy in his early teens whose name was Dan. The outlaws were conquered, but the fight had been a great strain on Grandma Frisbee's aging heart. The masked man and Dan were with her in the small, neat bedroom.
I'm tired.
Try to get some sleep, Mrs. Frisbee.
No, I want to be sure Dan'll be all right. I want you to take care of Dan.
I'll take care of him as if he were my son.
You ought to know about his past. He's not really my grandson.
No?
I'm not. But Grandma Frisbee,
Let me talk. There's a small box under the bed. Hand it to me.
I'll get it.
Grandma Frisbee held the box in her thin, blue-veined hands while she told of coming west in a wagon train.
That was over 10 years ago. There was a fine lady traveling with the party, and she had a baby boy.
The dying woman told about the Indian attack.
I crept away from the scene of the massacre and took the baby with me. I came up here near the border and raised Dan as my grandson. Here's a little gold locket that he wore around his neck. There are pictures inside.
The Lone Ranger opened the locket and looked at the faces of the man and woman as Dan spoke.
I wonder who my parents were.
I know them. This man, your father, was my brother.
Your brother?
He was a captain of the Texas Rangers and one of the bravest men in the country. Your mother was a fine lady from Virginia. Her name was Linda.
I called the baby Dan because it's the name that's on the locket, but I never knew the last name.
Dan's last name is Reid, the same as mine.
Gosh.
I've been looking for you, Dan, for many years, ever since your father died. From now on, if you're willing, we'll travel together.
Oh, I'd like that.
I'm glad. Would you do just one thing for me before I sleep? Would you take off that mask and show me your face?
Why, of course.
Oh, it's a good face. Yes, a good face.
Dan, your grandma was a fine woman. It's too bad she had to go.
She was certainly good to me.
She and your father left you a great heritage.
A heritage?
Yes. They and others like them have handed down to you the right to worship as you choose, and the right to work and profit from your enterprise. They have given you a land where there is true freedom, true equality of opportunity, a nation that is governed by the people, by laws that are best for the greatest number. Your duty, Dan, is to preserve that heritage and strengthen it. That is the heritage and duty of every American.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. This is the story that tells how Tonto once saved the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger and Tonto were riding westward across desolate country. They were looking at the tracks of a wagon train when suddenly a thin young man stepped from behind a big boulder. He held a rifle to his shoulder and shouted,
Right in or I'll shoot. That's it. Now get off those horses and don't try to reach for a gun.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto dismounted slowly.
Easy, steady, big fella.
Then the masked man dropped his hand with lightning speed and fired from the hip. His bullet smashed the rifle and sent it flying from the young man's hands.
Now raise your hands. Search him, Tonto. See if he has any other weapons.
I haven't. I should have known better than to try to hold up a masked outlaw.
I'm not an outlaw, and you don't look like one.
I'm not. I held you up because I hope to find food in your saddlebags.
What's your name?
Wingate. Dave Wingate.
What are you doing alone in country like this?
I was with a wagon train. It passed here.
Why did you leave the train?
I was driven away.
Why?
I didn't do anything wrong. I was framed by Cap Sanders.
Cap Sanders?
He was hired as wagon master. Every night he posted guards to watch for dangerous redskins.
Sioux Indian dangers, but Crow Indian friendly.
One of our best friends is chief of the Crow Indians who live north of here. Dave, I want to hear how you were framed, but first we'll prepare a meal.
Oh, I'm near starved.
During the meal, Dave told about being on guard duty during a dark night when he saw two men sneaking beyond the circle of wagons.
So I followed them. They met a third man, and I got close enough to hear their voices. One was Cap Sanders, and another the guide he'd hired. We called him Dakota Dick. The man they met was an Indian.
Could you hear what was said?
I was there only a minute, and then I sneezed. Cap Sanders and Dakota Dick rushed at me, grabbed me, and disarmed me. They were raving mad.
What about the Indian?
He disappeared. Dakota Dick wanted to shoot me, but Sanders said that'd be hard to explain. He said he had a better way of getting rid of me. They took me to camp, roused the men, and accused me of sleeping on guard duty.
I wonder why they wanted to get rid of you.
I don't know. Unless they thought I overheard something they wanted kept secret.
Did you?
No. The Indian jabbered something I couldn't understand, and Sanders told him to mosey along.
Mosey along?
Yes, he said, mosey along, you Injun, walk on. It sounded odd. That's why I remembered it.
Oh, maybe him talk Sioux Indian language. Maybe him say, mosey on, you Indian, walk on.
Well, that's it.
Sanders told the Indian to make an attack at a landmark known as Medicine Rock.
Oh, Medicine Rock? The wagons are supposed to reach there tonight.
And Sanders is working with Sioux Indians to attack the pioneers. They must be warned. I'll try to overtake the wagons.
Me go with you?
No, Tonto, I'll make better time alone. You stay with Dave. Easy, steady, big fella. Come on, Silver! Come on, Silver!
It was late afternoon when the Lone Ranger overtook the train of covered wagons. He drew abreast of the first one in the line
Easy, Silver, easy.
and shouted to the driver.
Frisbee! Are you Jim Frisbee?
Yes, Your mask.
No time to explain the mask now. There may be an ambush ahead. Stop the wagons while I tell you about it.
Stop the wagon!
The wagons were halted at the foot of a long hill. Jim Frisbee and men from other wagons listened, while the Lone Ranger told about the possible ambush at Medicine Rock in the valley ahead.
It's just beyond that hill. You're within a couple of miles of the place.
2 of our men rode ahead. If there's any sign of trouble, they'll come back and lead us over a different route. Otherwise, we'll go on as we planned.
Are Cap Sanders and Dakota Dick the men who went ahead?
Oh, yes.
Frisbee, if my information is correct, they're helping the Indians plan the ambush.
Why would they do that?
For money. If you people are massacred, they'll be able to take your cash and let the Indians have your horses and supplies.
They're not crooks.
I'm sure they are.
I'd say you're the crook. What's your game?
The Lone Ranger realized when he heard the angry comments that he could never persuade the men to follow him over a different trail that would lead safely past the dangerous valley.
Where'd you get your information?
Nothing I might say would convince you that I've told the truth.
Look! The top of the hill! Engines! They're show engines! They're on the warpath! They're coming this way!
Now you must fight. I'll help you.
Form a circle! 2 men!
As the Indians rode down the long hill, the Lone Ranger helped the pioneers quickly move the wagons into a tight circle. Then the gunfire started. The savages, who greatly outnumbered the pioneers, circled around the wagons, firing from the backs of their horses. The Lone Ranger fought at the side of Jim Frisbee. The first attack was driven off. The Indians withdrew to the hilltop. The Lone Ranger watched them through binoculars, then said,
Frisbee, look through these glasses. You'll see Cap Sanders and Dakota Dick talking to the Indians.
Double-crossers. You were right about them.
They double-crossed you, and they lied about Dave Wingate falling asleep at his post.
How'd you know about Wingate?
I met him on the trail.
During the lull in battle, the Lone Ranger told how he had met Dave Wingate and learned of the attack. Then the Indians near the hilltop, out of gun range, showed signs of activity.
They're starting another attack.
We've used more than half our ammunition. Get set, boys. We'll go down fighting. Here they come.
Every man inside the circle of wagons knew that the end was near.
Make every shot count.
The Indians knew it too. They felt that victory was in their grasp, when suddenly new war cries sounded from the north.
Look over there. More Indians coming.
Those are friendly Indians. They're members of a Crow tribe.
You mean they're on our side?
Yes, Tonto's riding beside the chief. And there's Dave Wingate.
Boys, we're saved. Never mind sparing the ammunition. Let them have it.
Tonto and his friends changed the tide of battle quickly. Many Indians went down. The others tried to flee, but they were hotly pursued by the Crows, and it was easy to see that none would escape. That night, in the light of campfires, Jim Frisbee told the pioneers how Dave Wingate had been unfairly punished.
And men, I say every one of us owes his life to Dave.
That's right, Jim. I didn't do anything. We owe our lives to Tonto and the Lone Ranger.
Hail Silver!
General Mills, makers of Cheerios, the oat cereal ready to eat, and Wheaties, breakfast of champions, presents The Lone Ranger.
Hail Silver!
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a haughty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. powerful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains, led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fellow. Hi-yo, Silver. Away!
When boys line up to run a race, Galloping Gordon sets the pace. He comes in first because he knows he's got go power from Cheerios. Yes, he's got go power. There he goes. He's feeling his Cheerios. Cheerios. Cheerios.
Sure, Cheerios, the cereal that's fun to eat because it's shaped like little letter O's. The only ready-to-eat oat cereal with this fresh toasted oat flavor. And listen, every delicious spoonful of Cheerios and milk is real muscle-building food. Each spoonful contains vitamins, minerals, and proteins your body needs. Yes, the good things in a Cheerios breakfast do good things for your body. Help you have healthy nerves, good red blood, strong bones and muscles. Yes, Cheerios is made to give you real go power. So every morning, get going and keep going with Cheerios. Then you'll hear people say,
He's feeling his Cheerios.
For several weeks after leaving Springfield, Missouri, the journey of a big wagon train was uneventful. One night, as the pioneers gathered around a large campfire within the encircled wagons, the wagon master, Will Halden, stood up to speak.
Well, Ben, as you all know, we're not very far from our destination. But that doesn't mean we're going to relax our vigilance so far as the Indians are concerned. As a matter of fact, the territory we'll pass through during the next few days is said to be overrun by a hostile redskin.
Terry Keller says there isn't any danger. And he thinks we're foolish to follow the Butterfield Trail when there's a shorter route from Phantom Hill on.
Terry Keller is a young, headstrong fool.
Well, it's not fair to say such a thing about Terry. At least you ought to wait until he's here to defend himself.
Well, he ought to be here, instead of taking up with Carver and Beauvais and going away like he did.
Harry said they were going to do some trail scouting, Will.
What's he know about scouting? Or the other two, for that matter. Just because Beauvais and Carver have made one trip out here, they seem to think they know it all.
That's right.
Well, I suppose Terry wants to be sure everything goes right because his father financed the trip.
Now, I was put in charge of this wagon train, and what I say goes. Unless you all get together and vote somebody else in my place.
No, sir.
That's all right now. Come along, Lucy.
On the trail ahead, Terry Keller, a young man about 25, was returning to the wagon camp with Beauvais, a Frenchman, and Carver, a rough-talking, heavy-set man. As they rode, Carver was saying,
Terry, you and the others listen to Will Halden. It'll take weeks longer, maybe, to get where you're heading. You can take our word for it. That branch trail we just showed you'll get the wagons there safer and quicker. Hey, Beauvais.
But of course, we have traveled these short routes, and we know it is the far better way to go.
Is there danger if we leave the well-traveled Butterfield Trail? Nah, the Indians are well under control now.
Carver is right, Terry.
Talk to the others, Terry. Get them on your side. They'll listen to you. Convince them the short route is better all the way around.
All right. I'll see what I can do. Come on, get up.
Get up.
Late that night, after the camp had quieted, Beauvais and Carver slipped away and rode west along the trail to meet an Indian scout and send word to Chief Lightfoot that the wagons would be certain to take the so-called short route, a route leading into wild and unpatrolled country, which was ideal for an Indian attack. As the two men rode, Beauvais was saying,
What do we get out of all this, Carver?
All the cash and valuables in the wagon train, and there's plenty. The Comanches get the guns, ammunition, and horses.
But if Will Alden is still wagon master and insists on going the regular route...
I've been putting the idea in Terry's mind to get the men to vote out Holden and elect me as wagon master.
You? Oh, that is laughable, mon ami.
Yeah? Well, I'll be able to stop the wagons for the night just where the Comanche chief wants them to stop. And you and I'll slip away just before the attack. Come on, let's hurry. Get up there.
After meeting a Comanche brave and sending the message to Chief Lightfoot, Carver and Beauvais returned to the wagon camp. All the next day, as they rolled slowly over the prairie, Terry talked to the pioneers one by one. That night, after the wagons were circled in camping formation, a man who had been chosen as spokesman called for a vote to replace Will Holden as wagon master. After the voting, he spoke to the group.
The voting shows that Carver is to replace Will Holden as wagon master. I hope there's no hard feelings.
Well, go ahead. Follow Carver from now on. As for me, I'm taking my wagon and leaving the train with any who want to go along. I'm still going to follow the Butterfield Trail.
Early the following morning, the Lone Ranger and his Indian companion Tonto rode the Butterfield Trail eastward toward Fort Phantom Hill.
It's not far to Fort now, Kimasabi. Maybe 2-3 miles.
That's right, Tonto. We'll stop and see our friend, Colonel Davis.
Ah. Look, Kimasabi, wagons coming this way.
Only 3 of them.
Then shoot. Maybe think we outlaws.
Oh, Silver, oh.
Oh, stop, oh, brother. Oh.
Stop and wait, Tonto. Don't draw your gun. We're not outlaws, if that's what you think.
Don't listen to him, Will. I've heard about the masked outlaws out this way.
Well, maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe they aren't outlaws. Of course, he is wearing a mask.
Wait a minute, Lucy. I remember hearing about a masked hombre when we lived out here before. He was said to ride a white stallion and carry silver bullets.
My gun belt is filled with silver bullets.
What's your horse's name, mister?
Silver?
Lucy. He's the one I heard about. Why, mister, you must be the Lone Ranger.
That's right. Come on, boy.
Well, mighty glad to meet you. My name is Will Holden. This is my wife, Lucy.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mrs. Holden? This is Tonto.
How do you do, sir?
I'm surprised that only 3 wagons made the trip west, Mr. Holden. You'd run into hostile Indians.
Oh, we had a big wagon train as far as Phantom Hill.
Oh, what happened to the others?
Well, it's a long story, mister. But if you have a few minutes, I'll tell you all about it.
Go right ahead.
Briefly, Will Holden told the Lone Ranger and Tonto what had taken place. When he finished, the masked man spoke.
The trail the others have taken isn't really shorter. It's far rougher. Also, there's more danger running into hostile Indians.
Heavens, that sounds terrible. I wonder why Mr. Carver and Mr. Beauvais think it's the better and shorter route.
Well, that's what I wonder, Mrs. Holden. What type of men are they, Mr. Holden?
I'll answer that, mister. I figured to be a couple of no-good polecats. They pulled the wool over young Keller's eyes and got him to side with them against Will Holden.
Now, take it easy, Jake.
Yeah.
Terry Keller has the right to his own opinion.
No, he hasn't. His father put you in charge. He should have stuck by you. No telling what those 3 will lead the wagon train into on that other route.
I suggest you turn back and wait at Fort Phantom Hill for another wagon train coming west. Tonto and I'll turn south and take a shortcut to the other trail. The sooner we locate the other wagons, the better. We'll get word to you later. Adios.
Adios.
Come on, Silver.
Let's go.
We'll continue our Lone Ranger adventure in just a moment. Now, free stamp offer from Cheerios, the ready-to-eat oat cereal.
Free for one special Cheerios box top, a 64-page guide packed with information on stamp collecting, plus 10 genuine foreign stamps to start your collection.
Begin the world's most thrilling hobby, collecting stamps from strange, exciting, faraway lands all over the globe.
You'll want this handy 1955 stamp guide for your very own. It contains many pages in full color, gives you tips on how to collect stamps, how to start your own stamp club, and even includes a whole illustrated section on U.S. stamps.
Get your 64-page guide plus 10 stamps free for only one special Cheerios box top.
And on the back of the same Cheerios package, find still another offer. 300 foreign stamps plus stamp album for only 25 cents in box top. All stamps supplied by world's largest stamp firm, H.E. Harris & Company of Boston.
Act now. Look for the Cheerios package with the free stamp offer on front. Now to continue. The route the wagon train had taken branched off the Butterfield Trail east of Phantom Hill and ran southward for several miles. Then it swung west and ran parallel to the main trail. The Lone Ranger and Tonto took a shortcut and managed to reach the lower trail in time to see the wagon train approaching.
Easy, steady, big fella. There come the wagons, Tonto. They're still some distance away. So far, nothing has happened to them. We'll ride ahead along the trail and look for possible danger. Come on, Silver.
Get 'em up, Scout.
The new trail ran through rolling country, and as the Lone Ranger and Tonto rode, they noticed the fresh hoof marks of one horse. A short time later, as they topped a rise, they saw a rider just disappearing over the low hill ahead. A few moments passed before they reached the top of the low hill and saw him turn from the trail into the woods.
Easy, Silver, easy.
The masked man and Indian also left the trail and rode cautiously through the woods for some distance. Then they approached the edge of a low mesa. They stopped and dismounted.
Easy, steady, big fella. The hoof marks go right to the edge of this mesa. Come on, fella.
A moment later, the two men saw that the hoof prints followed a steep, narrow path to a valley below, in which there was an Indian camp. Using field glasses, they saw a white man talking to the Indian chief in sign language. Tonto watched, then said,
Kimasabi. Yes? White fella tell chief about wagons. Him say there many rifle, guns, much ammunition.
And he's from the wagon train.
Now, chief make sign. Say, Indian attack from behind when wagons reach river.
Tonto, it will be a massacre. We must get help. You ride to Fort Phantom Hill. It will take those wagons several hours to reach the river. The troopers may have time to get here.
May go now. Adios.
Adios.
After Tonto left, the Lone Ranger mounted Silver and rode out to the trail.
Come on, boy.
Then he headed eastward to meet and warn the pioneers.
Come on, Silver.
Meantime, Tonto started back along the shortcut trail. He had ridden about a mile. When rounding a bend, he saw a Comanche scouting party approaching.
Oh, Scout, oh, fella. Round, Scout, round, fella.
Quickly, he turned his horse around and started back.
Get him up, Scout.
The Comanches saw him and urged their ponies to a gallop. Tonto glanced back. Then, feeling sure he could outrun his pursuers, gave Scout his head. But at that moment, more Indians rode from the bordering woods ahead of him and barred his path. Realizing he was trapped, Tonto pulled to a stop.
Oh, Scout, oh, fella.
Now, me ride in peace. Not want trouble with Comanche.
You not Comanche. What you do here?
Come on. Soma.
Braves say we take you, Chief Lightfoot. If you move, you die now. Take guns. Tie 'em.
Back on the trail and slowly moving westward, Terry Keller rode at the head of the wagon train with Beauvais.
Where did Carver go? He has gone ahead to do some scouting, Terry. He should be back soon.
I wish Halden had stayed with us. Even though he's no longer in charge, I still feel... Say, look. A rider coming toward us. Must be Carver returning.
No, it cannot be. He doesn't ride a white horse. Sacre! That rider is masked. He must be a highwayman. I'll stop him with a bullet.
No, wait. We have 30 men to his one. He can't harm us. Better stop the wagon.
Stop the wagon!
Oh, easy, steady, big fella.
You are covered, monsieur. Do not reach for your guns.
I come as a friend. Who's in charge here?
The new wagon master isn't here at the moment. What is it you want? I'm Terry Keller.
Well, Holland told me about you. I came to warn you of danger. The Comanches plan to attack.
Why should we listen to you, an outlaw? This is some trick, Terry. Do not pay any attention.
I'm not an outlaw, and this isn't a trick.
Oh, wait a minute. You mentioned Will Halden.
Yes, I met him on the other trail earlier today. He told me all that took place.
Terry, we get the men to tie up this masked man, and we turn him over to the first sheriff we meet.
Just a minute. If you talk to Halden, he must consider you a friend.
Yes, he does. You must heed my warning. A heavy-set man went to the Comanche camp a while ago and talked to the chief.
Heavy-set man? He must be Carver. And you... I heard you call out, "Come on, Silver."
Yes, that's right. My horse's name's Silver.
My father told me of a masked man who rode a white stallion by that name. A man who carried 2 fancy guns and used silver bullets. Here's the silver bullet he gave Dad. I carry it now.
Here's one like it from my gun belt.
You must be the Lone Ranger.
I am. Evidently, Carver is a traitor and plans to lead you into a trap. The attack by the Indians will take place at the river.
River?
Yes, it's about 10 miles from here.
So, Carver would betray us, eh? And all the time I trusted him as a friend, almost as a partner.
And you knew nothing about all this, Beauvais?
Of course not. But what are we to do?
Turn back and head for Fort Phantom Hill. The Comanche camp is about 2 miles from here. Let's hope they don't find out the wagons have turned back.
All right, we'll do whatever you say, mister.
I agree with you, Terry. Let us start them back at once. I ride back until the others. Get it back. Turn back. Get around. Turn back.
Beauvais played his part so well that neither the Lone Ranger nor Terry suspected what he intended to do. The Frenchman rode toward the rear of the line of wagons and told each driver to turn back. After all the wagons had turned, he waited until they moved past him. After the last of them had gone by, Beauvais turned hurriedly and rode into the woods.
Get it.
Meanwhile, at the Comanche camp, Tonto, tied hand and foot, was a prisoner in one of the teepees. Realizing what would happen if the troopers weren't warned, he struggled for some time to loosen his hands, but without success.
No use. Ropes heap plenty tight.
Chief say, my paleface come back with other paleface.
Tell the chief someone ward the wagon train. The wagons are turned back.
Oh, me don't tell him out.
Tonto listened intently as the chief and the other Comanches discussed the situation. He understood their language and heard the chief say his braves would soon start in pursuit of the wagons and attack them on the open plain at dusk. Tonto looked about him frantically for some way to get loose. At first it seemed hopeless. Then his eyes rested on a double-edged tomahawk, securely wedged into the center post of the teepee. He struggled to his feet, hopped to the post, then turning his back, worked the rope on his wrists against the protruding, sharp edge of the tomahawk.
I hope no one come in, teepee.
The rope frayed strand by strand until finally it parted.
My hands free now. Next me untie feet.
Just as he loosened the rope on his ankles, he saw the shadow of an approaching figure. Quickly, he lay down and waited. Then the Indian who had captured him and taken his guns entered.
Soon me take you out. Tie you to post. Chief say you'll die for what you do.
As the Indian moved close, Tonto suddenly went into action. He reached out, grabbing the surprised Comanche and pulling him to the ground.
Not die. This keep you quiet.
The Indian went limp, and Tonto took back his own guns. Next, he took the fallen savage's war bonnet to use as a partial disguise and placed it on his head. He used his hunting knife to cut an opening in the back of the wigwam. Then, making sure he wasn't observed, he quickly headed for a nearby grove and soon made his way to the horses where he found Scout. A moment later, he mounted.
Easy, Scout, easy,
then,
fella.
discarding the war bonnet, hurriedly rode away.
Get him up, Scout.
Later, the Lone Ranger rode at the rear end of the wagon train to watch for the Comanches in case they followed. Toward dusk, the wagon stopped and circled for the night. The circle had just been completed when the Indians, 100 strong, appeared over a rise.
The Comanches are coming.
Every man to his post.
The Comanches began circling the wagons, using what guns they had and firing blazing arrows. The masked man was everywhere at once, advising, helping.
Keep down. Make every shot count. Watch out for those blazing arrows.
Mister, we haven't much chance.
Don't give up, Terry. They haven't many guns. We must hold them off.
For some time, the battle raged. The Comanches rode in an ever-closing circle. Many of the pioneers had been wounded, and Terry Keller felt certain the end was near for them all.
No use, mister. We can't hold out. This is my fault. If I'd listened to Will Hall and
This is
everything...
no time to blame yourself, Terry.
I saw Beauvais and Carver at the edge of the grove with the Indian chief. They got us into this.
Yes, I should have realized Beauvais was in with Carver on the plans.
They're too much for us, I tell you. A bugle. That means troopers.
Yes, I see them.
Numbering almost 200, moved in from two sides. Their sudden appearance took the Comanches by surprise, and though the savages fought desperately, they were soon subdued. Those who could still ride tried to escape, but failed. The fight had come to an end. In the battle, Carver, Beauvais, and the chief were captured. Later, within the circle of wagons, Will Halden, who had come with the soldiers, spoke to the pioneers.
Come in. I understand you want me to take over as wagon master again.
Sure do. We have a better one.
Well, thank you. Carver and Beauvais were captured and are gone back to the fort as prisoners, along with the Comanche chief.
Serves him right.
Thanks to the masked man and his Indian friend Tonto, who came to the fort with the news, a massacre has been averted.
Mr. Halden, I want to apologize for the way I acted.
The masked man told me you fought mighty well, Terry. I reckon you won't be taken in so easily the next time by traitors like Carver and Beauvais.
That's right. I think we should give the masked man a vote of thanks right now. The Indian, too.
Well, wait a minute. It's too late for that. They've already left with the troopers, Terry.
Dad sure will be surprised and happy to hear that I actually met the Lone Ranger.
He's a true American, and an hombre who believes always in the right. We're mighty lucky to have a friend like the Lone Ranger.
We'll return in just a moment for a word about our next exciting Lone Ranger adventure, railroad robberies.
You know, an exciting way to learn about foreign countries is to study their coins. And Wheaties' special foreign coin offer is really terrific. Right now, Wheaties is offering you 2 different sets of genuine foreign coins. There's the international set with 15 coins from countries like Germany, Iceland, and South Africa. And the mystery set with 15 coins from faraway lands like Angola, Turkey, New Zealand. Remember, these coins are real money you could spend right now in these countries. And each coin set comes in a special folder. A map inside shows you where the coins are used and gives information about the country. Each coin has been cleaned and polished. Sounds like these genuine coins would cost a lot, doesn't it? But you can get each set for only 25 cents and 1 Wheaties box top. Look for directions on the back of Wheaties special foreign coin packages at your grocer's now. Hurry, start your foreign coin collection today.
A man whom the Lone Ranger and Tonto had hunted for murder successfully planned a trap for the masked man under unusual circumstances. This is a story packed with action and thrilling suspense. Be sure to listen. The Lone Ranger, a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated, is created by George W. Trendle, produced by Trendle Campbell Muir Incorporated, directed by Charles D. Livingston, and edited by Fran Stryker. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer. Your announcer, Fred Foy. The Lone Ranger is brought to you by General Mills. Starting May 30th, listen to The Lone Ranger every day, Monday through Friday, on another network. This recorded program came to you from Detroit. This is ABC Radio Network.